This is WCN, the Whole Care Network. You talk, we listen. Content presented on the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed during this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent views of the Whole Care Network. Always consult your physician for medical and fitness advice, and always consult your attorney for legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Have you ever met anybody that has caregiving on their bucket list of things to do in life?
Beyond caregiving, how do we care?
We also have to care for ourselves.
How do we treat friends, family, strangers we meet?
Forget it.
How do we heal? The physical, social, financial, spiritual.
Hello.
By creating healing ties. Tying it all together like a bow tie. With your host, Christopher McClellan, the bow tie guy.
Well, greetings, everyone. It is Christopher McClellan, the bow tie guy, for another episode of Healing Ties 2.0. Thanks for joining us today. On Healing Ties, we are all about sharing stories and information because we believe it is through story sharing where diversity meets the road to collaborate on a common cause. And our common cause is to help you create healing ties to live happy and healthy by caring for yourself and others before, during, and after caregiving ends. And as you know, we're celebrating National Family Caregivers Month with the reboot of our Healing Ties podcast and the soft launch of our new Whole Care Network website. And when you get a chance, please visit our new website at thewholecarenetwork.com, where you'll get the opportunity to meet Bo, because Bo ties things together on the Whole Care Network. When you see Bo, you will totally get it. So, and during our soft launch, we are asking our listeners to provide us with some critical feedback on the new site so we can continue to build the site in a way that is easy to find important information and resources via your favorite podcasts, blogs, and videos. And, one of the unique features of the new site is our ability to search the content on our Whole Care Network 4 pillars of care. That's our physical, social, financial, and let's say spiritual / holistic health. When we're talking about spiritual health, a lot of people have different opinions about that. So think of it as more of a spiritual / holistic component. And I am looking forward to receiving your feedback on our new site, and be on the lookout for our new 24/7 streaming radio channel debuting early in 2021. There's a lot going on. Goodness gracious, St. Ignatius. Well, enough for me. I'm excited to introduce my guest today from Hope Loves Company, Jodi O'Donnell Ames, who's the founder. And Jodi, I love this new title of yours, Community Engagement Director, and Cara Haggerty, who I'm just getting the opportunity to meet, who's the Executive Director. And Hope Loves Company is the only nonprofit in the United States with the mission of providing educational and emotional support to children and young adults who had or have a loved one battling ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Jodi, Cara, great to see both of you and have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I always, I'm excited because I get the opportunity to meet Cara, but Jodi, how I just have a special place in my heart for you and the work that you do. And it's, we've been friends for a long time, but I know your story. But tell our listeners a little bit about you and how Hope Loves Company came about.
Well, I first want to say right back at you, Chris. You have an incredible journey and you have grown so much since we've met in this journey. So thank you for all that you do for so many people.
Thank you.
So my story is that in 1995, my late husband, Kevin, was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. He was 30 years old. We had a 2.5-year-old. And, you talk about healing ties, you talk about caregiving. Well, we were thrown into that situation very quickly. Within 1 year of diagnosis, Kevin relied on a wheelchair. Within 2 years, he relied on a feeding tube because he was choking. And within 3 years, he had to consider whether or not to be ventilated for his, his extended journey with ALS. And for those of you who don't know about ALS affects 30,000 Americans. It is a disease that also affects people worldwide, more men than women, on average between the ages of 40 and 70. And it can happen to anyone. And at any given time, every 90 minutes, someone is diagnosed with ALS, and every 90 minutes, someone also passes away. So it's still considered a rare disease, although in my journey since 1995, I have loved and lost so many people with ALS. And even just this week, writing sympathy cards is a very common part of my role. So thank you for asking.
It's so great to be able to talk to you and share your experience, and from your experience, how you're creating healing ties by giving back to families who are dealing with the same thing that you did over 20 years ago.
No, there was a gentleman whose wife was diagnosed with ALS and has since passed, and he made a comment that I kind of jump in the pit of the fire with everyone. And that's how I feel about my role in this at Hope Loves Company and in this mission, is to really be there for families who are going through this as others were there for us, and to specifically and more importantly, guide families who are raising children and really don't know where to turn.
It's so important to kind of pay it forward and give the information as we gathered it ourselves during our caregiving experience. Goodness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Cara, welcome. It's great to connect with you and learn a little bit about the work that you're doing. But tell me about you and your role as an executive director and how all this came about. And I can already tell how much you love your work.
I do. That is 100% true. Thank you for having us and for the introduction. I met Jodi just under 3 years ago and wanted to learn more about Hope Loves Company because my boyfriend lost his father to ALS in 2017. So I met Jodi about a year later and started volunteering and interning and have been with Hope Loves Company ever since. We have a small team, a really dedicated team consisting of Jodi and myself and our wonderful program director, Nicole, who joined us in March. So we wear a lot of hats at Hope Loves Company, and we work really hard to provide the programs that we do for our families, and pivoted very quickly to create virtual programs and virtual Camp HLC for our families.
Yeah, that's one of the topics that I wanted to get into today about the camps and how you're doing the camps now with COVID-19. But I think I wanted to throw this out to both of you because I think there's a misnomer out there that caregiving is really only focused on caring for seniors, or that the seniors are caring for seniors. But there are a number of youth that are caring for their parents and their grandparents, and you're really serving that community. Can you talk a little bit about that? Cara, I'll put you on the spot and have you and give you some additional airtime there.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we have children as young as 3 years old who are providing care for a parent or grandparent living with ALS. And I believe in the United States alone, the number of young caregivers, be it for ALS or another disease or disability, is, I believe, in the millions. I think 3 million children are currently providing care for a loved one. So they are bathing, dressing, feeding, toileting their parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle. They are full-time students who go to school for 8 hours, come home, do their homework, do their extracurriculars, and are providing basically round-the-clock care, especially now as our children are in virtual school.
Oh, goodness. The virtual school has really changed. COVID has changed everything for everybody. And I thinking about the wonderful camps that you've done throughout the history of Hope Loves Company, and how are you maneuvering that during COVID-19?
Absolutely. So typically we would host Camp HLC in 6 different states across our camp season. And back in May or April, we made the decision to postpone our first camp, which would have taken place in May, as well as our second camp, which would have taken place in June. And so we wanted to create something for those families and make sure that they had the opportunity to connect with other families affected by ALS, to have fun, to form connections and friendships, and to feel supported. And back at that time, we didn't realize, and rather no one realized what the rest of this year would look like.
Right.
So I believe it was in July that we made the official decision to make all of our camps virtual, given the success of our first virtual Camp HLC, which was in July. So we had about 30 children plus their parents join us for a virtual camp weekend, which took place over Zoom from Friday to Sunday. Every family got a kit in the mail with their t-shirt, tie-dye kit, art supplies, everything that they needed for an active and memorable weekend.
The ingenuity of technology, especially when it works, but goodness, to be able to stay connected to the families is such a need, especially at all times. But COVID has just changed life for everybody. So goodness. So Jodi, I want to come back to you real quick. Well, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to add to that. I was going to add that technology does, and COVID, has been so challenging, but it also has offered the opportunity for more families to be present at virtual Camp HLC, and even people living with ALS to observe their children enjoying the experience. So, the fact that COVID has changed the dynamic of caregiving tremendously, as you alluded to, many families haven't been able to bring in resources and assistance. Mm-hmm. So children are doing even more, and there's even greater isolation. So with having the virtual Camp HLC, it's just a way to bring people together from many different states and communities, and to make people or help people to feel less alone in their journey.
Oh, combating the isolation is so huge. And to be able to do this virtually, I'm kind of reaching here a little bit, but would it be safe to say that maybe more people have the opportunity to attend virtually, since there some people that aren't able to travel that are in this condition? So it kind of opens up the opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Jodi, as you think back, it was 7-8 years ago when you had this brilliant idea, and you see where it's at today. You have staff, and you've got programs, and got a nice little bear that people could get and hug. When you think back about when this started and where it is now, you've got to feel really good about where this is, the work that you're doing, and where this is all going.
Well, that is a catch-22 question, because I absolutely feel wonderful that Hope Loves Company was created, and that it's growing, and that Cara is our executive director. But as someone who is a giver and a doer, I also recognize there's so much more that we need to do. So it's always that bittersweet combination of this is wonderful. We're doing such a great job. However, I still see further visions of being able to do more. And I know that's going to happen. We need to be patient. But I think that the people that have embraced this mission, the organizations, individuals like yourself who have cared enough to feature Hope Loves Company and to share this experience and this mission is how we've made it this far. So thank you for being a part of that.
Well, and it's just so critical to be able to share our experience as no matter what stage you are in caregiving, whether it's you're a new caregiver or you've been doing it for years, or you're like me and in after caregiving. It's sharing that information so that you give back to those who are coming behind us. So, goodness. So why don't we? Oh, wait a minute. Before I take a break, I have a question. Cara, I have another question for you.
Sure.
So if I was if I was a youth who was struggling with this issue and didn't know where to turn, and I came to the internet and I said, "Oh my God, look at this Hope Loves Company." What would be the point of contact? What would a youth caregiver need to do in order to get involved in Hope Loves Company?
Sure. They can reach out to us by email, by giving us a phone call. I actually have the office number forwarded right to my cell phone, and I will answer it any time of the day, any time of the night. Jodi and I, we both love connecting with our families. It's of course, one of the best things about serving our mission is connecting with our families. So we're also on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok even. They can message us. I mean, we're accessible in so many ways. So we have registration for our programs on our website. They can call us if they have questions or want to learn more. And we're always happy to hop on a call or a video chat.
TikTok,
and I just want to add to that very quickly, Chris, if you don't mind, because we know what it's like to be a caregiver and we know what it's like to be a little bit shy about talking to someone. Mm-hmm. Please know that the voices you hear on this call and this podcast are the same voices who will say hello and greet you and support you.
And I'd like to add that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And when you're reaching out for help, you're making your life just a little bit easier and the one person that you're caring for as well. So that's been my experience. But goodness, this is a great time to take our break. And when we come back, I'm going to be asking both of you to share a fun fact about the two of you, about each other, that I don't know, and our listeners would be very interested to hear. Okay? I'm going to put you on the spot. So, okay, you're listening to Healing Ties on the Whole Care Network. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Jinsey Hines with 365 Caregiving Tips and All's Authors. I hope you will listen to me when I am on Christopher McClellan's Healing Ties podcast. I had a great time with him, and I hope you'll have fun too.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing our delightful conversation with Jodi O'Donnell Ames and Cara Haggerty from Hope Loves Company. And, I told you I was going to put you on the spot when we came back. So I'm going to go to Cara first. And Cara, I'd like to know one fun fact about you that I don't know and our listeners would be very interested to hear.
Okay. I don't know how interesting it is, but it's one of my go-to fun facts because I think it's kind of unique, is that I played rugby in college.
Ah, that is a great one. You played rugby and you're on the rugby team?
I did, yes. I went to the College of New Jersey and we had men's and women's club rugby teams, and it's it's where I made my closest friends in college. And it was just a wonderful time. And, being part of a team is really fulfilling. So.
And that's what you're doing right with Hope Loves Company. You're a part of an awesome team.
A family.
You're moving the ball. It's an extended family. Very much so. That is awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. Now, Jodi, I'm putting you on the spot. What's a fun fact?
A fun fact, I guess, would be that I have been an extra in 3 different movies.
I did not. Now, you see, I did not know that. That's pretty cool. So you want to give those movies out, or is it?
Well, I can give out 2.
Okay.
One didn't make it to the United States, but 2 would be Snake Eyes and also IQ. So it was a long time ago. I was much younger, had less wrinkles then, but yes, it was a lot of fun.
I can attest, since we even though this is audio, but I have audio on the podcast, I can see the 2. You don't have any wrinkles, Jodi.
You're sweet.
That's my fun fact about you that I know. So, goodness. I owe that to all my older 4 sisters who trained me well. So goodness. We just have a couple of minutes left in the program, and I'm confident we're going to do more shows as the Whole Care Network expands, because we really want to feature the work that you guys do. It's so important to get that information about youth caregivers out to the public, and just want you to be a part of the Whole Care Network as well. But for today, I know, Cara, you mentioned about it earlier how people can get in contact with you, but let's provide that information again one more time.
Absolutely. So our website is hopelovescompany.org. All of our contact information is listed there. Our emails, our office line is 609-730-1144. And like I said, it goes right to my cell phone. So families can call me at any time, and we'll connect them with the right programs and our families so that they can feel supported and join us at Camp HLC and group shares and our online support group. We're also on social media at Hope Loves Company, or on Twitter, we're at Hope Loves Co. And we can message and reply to people on social media as well.
And your website is filled with terrific information, wonderful photos and pictures of the camps. And I know if you go to hopelovescompany.org, do I have that correct?
Correct.
We're so used to just saying .com that, we have to forget that there is .org, but you will not be disappointed with the information that you'll find at hopelovescompany.org. So I can't thank you enough for joining me today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to share our mission, and we're grateful to be a part of this wonderful service that you're providing.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris.
Jodi, you are awesome. And Cara, you're awesome too. This has just been terrific. And Jodi and Cara, by the stories that you share, the resources that you provide, and the comfort you bring by your words, actions, and deeds, you and the entire staff at Hope Loves Company are certainly creating healing ties all around us. I can't thank you enough for the work that you do and for joining me today.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, that does it for this episode of Healing Ties 2.0. It really is great to be back on the air with Healing Ties on the Whole Care Network. As you know, I'm your host, Christopher McClellan. You might know me as the Bowtie Guy. I've created a life to love after caregiving ends by sharing stories, resources, and being with awesome people like Jodi and Cara. Healing Ties is produced in the posh studios of Odd Box Productions in downtown St. Louis and is a part of the Whole Care Network. Check out our new website at thewholecarenetwork.com, where you'll get a chance to meet Bo. And be sure to subscribe to Healing Ties wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We'll see you for another episode of Healing Ties real soon. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
This is WCN, the Whole Care Network. You talk, we listen.